This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, friends, now we're going to do Chav Beis Amud Beis, Daf Hashavua, Masechta Nedarim. Amar Rabbi Arachana, Kol HaKoyes, anyone who gets angry, Afilu Shechina Eina Chashuva K'negdai. Even the Shechina itself is not valued, significant to him. Shenemar, Rasha, the wicked man, Kegoiva Apoy, in the arrogance of his anger, Bal Yidroish, he will not seek out. Ein Elokim Zimaisav, Hashem is not in his musings. What does it mean? Bal Yidroish. That means he says, Hashem will not punish me. I am immune. Says Rashi, says the Ran, Begoiva Apoy B'tagborais Kasai, in the height of his anger, Ein Elokim Komazimoisav, Sheshchina Eina Chashuva K'negdai. Weiter gegangen. Says the Gemara. Rabbi Meir from Difti says, Meshakech Talmudai. He forgets his learning, Umaisav Tipshus, and he increases his foolishness. Shenemar Kichas B'cheik Kesilim Yanuach. Anger rests in the lap of the fool. Uchsiv, Uchsil, and the fool Yifrois Iveles increases his foolishness. So, someone who's a Balkas, he is like a fool, and if he's a fool, he will increase his foolishness. Says the Ran, Shenemar kichas v'chei ksil miyanuach alma the kois have a ksil. We see someone who gets angry is a fool. Uchsil yifrei sivelas alma moisef tipshas. The Gemara says weiter. Amar Rav Ada Rabbi Chanina. Rav Ada, the son of Rabbi Chanina, says El Malei Chatu Yisrael. Had Klal Yisrael not sinned, Leinitein Lahem El Chamisha Chumshei Torah V'Sevi Shovavad, then all they would have been given is the 5 books of Moses and Sefer Yehoshua. They would have only been given the 5 books of Chumash and Sefer Yehoshua. Why? She'erko shel Eretz Yisrael. The Sefer Yehoshua talks about the value of Eretz Yisrael, the way Eretz Yisrael was divided. My taima, why would the other books not be given? The other books are books of rebuke. Ki beroiv chachma rav kaas, with a lot of wisdom is a lot of anger. What does that mean? The wisdom in the Nevi'im would be reflective that Hashem's angry at us. So the fact that we have these books shows Hashem was angry at us. Had Hashem not been angry at us, had we not sinned, we wouldn't have needed it. Says the Ran, the fundamental basis of the other Nevi'im was only to reprimand the Jewish people for the sins in their possession. Had they not sinned, if they wouldn't have sinned, they would not have needed rebuke. Why only Sefer Yehoshua? Because it's the arrangement of Eretz Yisrael. Sefer Yehoshua mefureshes ayaro Eretz Yisrael. Sefer of Joshua speaks about the cities in Israel, the holiest and the inheritance. Asher nachalu lefikach afilu lo chatu. Therefore, even had we not sinned, hayud tzrichen Sefer Yehoshua, we would have needed Sefer Yehoshua. Shenemar ki beroiv chachma roiv koas. Beroiv divrei chachmais hanavim. In the abundance of wisdom of the other prophets. Yesh siman, that is symbolic, is reflective. Leroiv kas, of the abundant anger. Shehechisu Yisrael HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that Klal Yisrael angered Hashem. The Holy Gemara continues. Okay, now we come back to the Inyan of Nedarim. Amar Rav Asi. Rabbi Asi said, now which Rabbi Asi? It's not Rav Asi, it's Rabbi Asi, okay? Just pointing that out. In this Gokin, Leila Ke Yisrael. We will not help, we will not get involved to be matter if somebody literally made a neder to Elokei Yisrael. Now, what does this mean? There's a basic machlokes Rishonim over here. The Ran learns that when we say in Iskak and Lelekei Yisrael, it doesn't mean we don't matter the neder of someone who says Hashem's name. And if someone does not say Hashem's name, we won't be matter. The critical factor here is not saying Hashem's name, but rather what we're talking about over here is Nedarim versus Shvuais. Meaning, according to the Ran, if somebody makes a Shavua, we are not matter it. But we could be matter Shvuais. If we did it, it's effective. But l'chadchila, you can't be matter a Shavua. What does it have to do with Lelekei Yisrael? Because very often, people swear by the name of Hashem, but it has nothing to do with the name of Hashem. We are mater nedarim even if you use the name of Hashem, and we're not mater shvuos even if you don't use the name of Hashem. The Rosh disagrees. The Rosh says that it's not dependent on nedar versus shvua. It's not that we're mater nedarim and we're not mater shvua. It is we will not be mater anything that you mention Hashem's name, and we will be mater if you don't mention Hashem's name. So it means as follows. In other words, according to the way the Ran learns, Ein niskaken Lelekei Yisrael means we don't matter shvuais. Okay? Except for chutz mikoinem ishti nenesli. Except if a person says, I asked her, my wife, from getting hana from me, sheganva es kisi, because she stole my wallet, v'shehiksa es b'ni, or she hit my son, v'noida shaloi ganva v'lahi kisai, and it turns out that she didn't steal and she didn't hit him. So Rav Asi is saying two exceptions. The exception is, when we're not mater? When we are mater? The exception is if the neder was you answered your wife, so now it's marital issue, and you answered her for a reason, and it turned out that the reason was proven to be false. So if both of these conditions are met, then we could be mater even a shavua. Take a look at the Ran. Chutz mikoinem ishti nenesli sheganva as kisi v'shehikses b'ni v'noida shaloi hiksai v'noida shaloi ganva. Now you might ask a question. If it turns out, friends, that he made the neder because his wife stole the purse, and it turns out she didn't, then what does it have to do? Then why would you even need a Pesach? Shouldn't it just be batal on its own because he did it for a certain reason, and that reason proved to be not true? Look in the Ran. Chus mikan rishi nanesli shagan vas kisi v'shekse espeni v'noida shalai hiksai v'noida shalai ganva kachi agirsa b'roiv haneschais v'ikaman de amar de tausihi. Some say that our girsa is a mistake. Di noida shalai hikasai, if it turned out that she didn't hit him v'shalai ganva and she didn't steal. Heichi ka'amar, how could we say chutz mikainem ishti? But v'nidrei shkagoisu. Isn't this nidrei shkagois? Because the guy made the neder thinking that his wife hit the kid, and she never hit the kid. V'sikna le'el de'eno tzarch she'ela l'chacham. V'amrina l'kaman kishem shenidrei shkagos mutar kach shvuos shkagos mutaris. Even if we're dealing with a shvua here, it shouldn't be chal. Aval harajba zal kasav efshel garsin le. The Rajba said it's possible that we have the gersa v'chitnan b'masnisin, that which we learned in the Mishnah, the chihai gavna einat tzarch she'ela, then in such a circumstance we don't need a heter. Hani mili ba'omer, that's only if you say she'im loy mipnei kein lo yom adira. When nidrei shkagos are not chal, that's if the guy says, I only made the neder because my wife stole my wallet. But if she wouldn't have, if I would have found out she didn't steal my wallet, I never would have made the neder. But what if the guy says, I made the neder because she stole the wallet, but I would make it even if she didn't steal the wallet? Then nidrei shkagos would be chal. Aval b'mamid dvarav, one who upholds his words, v'amar afal pi kain, even so, but I don't want her to get hana from me, then sarach she'ela. Here, the reason why it would be chal is because we're talking about where the guy says even if she didn't steal the Yehuda is sharing this thing. Yeah?
That's what he said.
I hear. I think there's another place where Rabbi Meir discusses it further. Okay. Now, according to this Rashba, that the reason why you could be matter it is because the guy says he would have done it regardless. So what's the exception here? The nerali the chika chutz mikainam ishti, because in this case there are two things. Misham deika tarti kamar. There are two factors here. Number one factor is shalom bayis, that we're talking about a neder between him and her. So that's one reason to try to be matter the neder. And v'oida have a ke'ein nidresh gagos. And another factor is it's somewhat similar to nidresh gagos. Nimsa shaganva nishal aval huzal oimer afilo nimsa shaganva nishal. But he writes that even if it turned out that she did steal it, you could be matter it. And meaning other Rishonim say there's only one factor is needed, the factor of shalom bayis. The chinaka nimsa shaloi ganva. So why does the Gemara pick a case that it came out that she didn't steal it? In other words, like this. The Gemara says that if somebody makes a neder that he asks his wife to get hana because she stole the wallet, then will be matter the neder if it turns out she didn't steal the wallet. Some Rishonim say, well, you need both factors. You need the factor that it's dvarim beinoi lebeina, and you need the factor that it's somewhat like nidresh gagos because it turned out that she didn't steal the wallet. That's how the Rashba learns. Other Rishonim learn, no, it's simply because it's between husband and wife. So why does it add that it turns out that she didn't steal the wallet? No, that's not dafka. That's what the Mishnah says, but it's lav dafka. But the Ran says he doesn't like that pshat. He prefers the pshat of the Rashba, that it's because you have two factors over here. The Gemara continues. Somebody came before Ravasi. By the way, this is Ravasi. So just like on the previous Amud, you had Rabbi Asi and Rav Asi here also. Someone came before Rav Asi. Amar lebe my nadart. So he said, how did you make the neder? What did you say? So she said, Belekei Yisrael, I swore by the God of Israel. Amar le said to her, Ina darta b'mayishi kinoi ba'alma. If you just would have used the phrase mahi, which is a kinoi, mizdak kikna lach, then I would have been able to be mater your shvua. Hashta deloina darta b'mayi. Now that you didn't make a neder in mayi, ela belekei Yisrael. Then loy mizdak kikna lach. I can't help you. Now, so what exactly does this mean? Because we just said earlier that we don't matter any shvuos. This implies it's only when you swear Belekei Yisrael. Let's see the Ran. Ina dart b'mohi loy mizdak kikna lach demohi kinoi l'shvua kedeisa beperkin kama. Mohi is a kinoi for shvua, like we said in the first parak. V'svir leil Ravasi. Ravasi holds l'chadchila ein eskaken l'shvua. L'chadchila, we do not help out a shvua. We do not service a shvua. So basically, this Gersa is saying different than our girsa. Im is da kikna b'moyi. If you would have just swore regularly, which is a kinoi, we would not have been matir your neder. We would have not been matir your shvua. So now that you swore with God, b'tmiya, belekei yisrael is da kikna lach, b'tmiya, meaning this is consistent with what the Ran said earlier. We will not be matir a shvua ever. Even if you swore without using Hashem's name, certainly if you used Hashem's name. If you made a neder b'mayi mizdak kiknalach, we would service you. Kolaymar, the sviralei, the l'shvua greda nizkakin. This opinion holds for shvua alone we would service. Avokivan shehizkar Hashem, since you mentioned Hashem's name, chamer tfei ve'ein nizkakin, and that's not consistent with what we said earlier. The Gemara continues. Rav Kahana ikla lebei Rabbi Yosef. Rav Kahana visited the house of Rabbi Yosef. Amar lei l'taymar midi. Rabbi Yosef says, Rav Kahana, taste something. Amar lei loy. He said, no. Mari kula loy ta'imna lei. Master of everything. I'm not going to eat it. Amar lei, Rabbi Yosef said, loy, no. Mari kula loy ta'imna lach. By the master of everything, you won't eat. Now what is going on? I understand Rav Kahana who said, no, I'm not going to eat. El Rabbi Yosef, amay amar loy marikula. Why did Rabbi Yosef say, no, master of everything, I'm not going to eat? What was Rabbi Yosef adding? Meaning Rabbi Yosef was the one who invited him, so why is he now swearing that you shouldn't eat? Hachu de kamar. This is what he was saying to him. Loi mari kula hu de ka'amret. He was saying, Loi, no, you're saying the master of everything? Then you can't eat. If that's what you said, then you can't eat. He wasn't affirming, he was saying that if that is what your statement is, you're not going to be able to eat. Look in the Ran, Rav Yosef Amay Amar Mari Kula, the Hasakadaitach, Rav Yosef Ishbale, the Rav Kahana Dulay Lecha. The Gemara in the Havamina thought Rav Yosef was swearing that Rav Kahana can't eat. Hachi Kamar, Loi Mari Kula Ka'amret. Loi, no. You said Mari Kula, you really said that? Loi Te'ima, you're not going to be able to eat. So Gemara says, what's the halacha? Amar Rava, Amar Rav Nachman, Hilchasa Poischen B'charata. The halacha is you could even be Poiseach a neder with charata. We had a shaila on Chaf Aleph Amabez. Could you use charata? Could you use even only a quasi Pesach? Like if you would have known that 10 people would have calmed you down, or could you have to use a Pesach proper? So Gemara is saying we use even charata. Look in the Ran, a Chidush Noira. Not only do we use charata, we even use charata for a Shavua. Amar Rav Amar Rav Nachman Hilchas Poischen B'charata V'Niskakin Lalekei Yisrael Perush Poischen B'charata Bein B'Neder Bein B'Shvua. And the Gemara continues V'Niskakin Lalekei Yisrael. Even if somebody swears, we will service their Shvua. Says the Ran V'Niskakin Am L'Chadchila Lalekei Yisrael V'Lo Yishna Nakad Chefza B'Yada. It doesn't matter if the guy was holding a chayfetz or loy nakar chefza, va'afilu ki chayfetz, even if he made a shua with holding a holy article, deloy chamar nakar chefza ela in yishvus hadayanim. Nikitas chayfetz is only chamar legabe the dayanim making you swear leyume ale to frighten you aval ikar shvua b'shem oy b'kinayhu. But the main shvua is with the name of Hashem or with a shvua. Okay. And here's the final stretch. Thank you for your patience. Mishtabach le Rava le Rav Nachman barav schayra de Adam Gadol. Rava praised to Rav Nachman barav schayra about Rav schayra de Adam Gadol. Rava told Rav Nachman, no, Rav schayra, he's such a great person. Amar lai. So Rav Nachman said, Azai kishiyav liyad chavi eliyadi. When he comes to you, bring him to me. Havale nidra l'mishra. Rav Schayra once had to be matir haneder. Also, Rav Nachman, and he came to Rav Nachman. Amar Lei Nadarta Adai Dachi. Rav Nachman said, did you make a neder with this and this in mind? Amar Lei, yeah, I did. Amar Lei, in. Adahachi dahachi? In. Kama Zimnin, many times Rav Nachman tried different things. Rav Schar said, yeah, I knew that. Ikvid Rav Nachman. Rav Nachman got angry. He's annoyed. Is that a chsarn and kas? Amar Lei Zula Kilach. He said to Rav Schar, go to your canopy. Nafak Rav Schar went out. Upasak Pisla Nafshi. He opened up a Pesach. He said, look, I annoyed somebody. This is not good practice. Rebbe said, what's the right path in life? What's praiseworthy by Hashem and by people? Rebbe Omer, Ezo Hidar Chisha, what is the correct path? Shayavar a person should choose. Koshi Tifaris Laisel, whatever brings glory to he who does it, but Tifaris Laim and Adam, and brings glory from other people. The correct path is if others are pleased with your actions. V'hashta de'ikved Rav Nachman, now that Rav Nachman got upset, Adaita dehachid lo'nadri. I never made a neder with this in mind. V'shari lenavshe, and Rav Nachman mattered it for him, and Rav Schara mattered it for himself. One more. Rav Shimon bar Rebbe Havalei Nidra l'Mishra. Rav Shimon bar Rebbe, he also had a neder to matter. Asl kamed Rabbanan. So he came from the Rabbanan. Amri lei nadarta adaiti dahachi. Did you make the neder with this and this in mind? Amr in adaiti dahachi. In kama zimna. And many times they said yeah. V'hava mitztari Rabbanan. The rabbis were distressed. They were going mishimsha to mitula shimsha, from the sun to the shade and the shade to the sun. They're trying to come up with a way to be matter the neder. Amar lei, Butnis, Brei da Abishol ben Butnis. Butnis, the son of Abishol ben Butnis, said to Reb Shimon Rebbe, listen, Mina darta adadim sara ban betula shim shatula. If you would have known how much you're annoying the rabbis that they have to go from the sun to the shade for the sun, would you have made the neder? Amar lo, he said no, v'sharyeh, and they were matter it. Okay, Rabbi Isai, we did Daf Chav Beis with the help of the Almighty. Maybe we should have an Ian share about Kas. We should have like a in-depth about Kas. Maybe, we'll see. Have a good night, everyone. Bracha v'atzlacha. Call to... What?
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.